2 years ago, it cost so much 4 years ago. It's now at least twice that much. So, and he listed about 10 items. So I think economy was very significant, and people did worry about that. The problem is Mousavi's economy is no different from Ahmadinejad. In fact, the two issues, the two differ, and it became very clear as the debate went on, was one, this acceptance of women's head cover, which isn't really the biggest issue, where there was, if you read through all the statements by the three pro-women candidates, so to speak, the only thing they were adamant was that they would be a bit more liberal about the dress code. That was all. You really didn't see anything substantial. And the other one was the language of foreign policy. Mousavi, Karoubi, to a lesser extent, but Mousavi and Rezai were adamant that Iran cannot change its nuclear policy. They were both very clear on that. They never stepped back from this. That's why I'm saying it says that people don't have any illusion. In fact, Obama's Tuesday statement is very clear, and he's right on that. On Tuesday, on Wednesday, when he's interviewed, he's saying that we don't see much difference between the two candidates on the nuclear issue, and he's right on that. On the issue of council and so on, I think there hasn't been any move towards that. What is happening is mainly the talk of strike committees and secret strike committees has been raised in the oil industry, at least there is precedence for that, and I've read a lot that suggests people are considering this. What can we do, and where should I think we are very clear, at least on Hopi's side. We have campaigned and we have exposed more of Mousavi's and Ahmadinejad evidence throughout his election campaign. I think he never even mentioned the executions of the 1980s because he presumably supported them. What we are in favor of is that the regime is in crisis, the demonstrations have a momentum, this momentum can change everything in Iran, and in a week it has already changed everything in Iran. And we are supporting these protests. At this stage, I don't think as Hopi, as individual left-wing organizations, people can have statements on how this is done and what slogans are appropriate and so on. As Hopi, our solidarity should be, especially, I think the Carré Rouge message is correct, with the student protests, because they're the ones who are getting hit harshest and they're not seen by the camera, they're not in front of the camera. We should also build solidarity with Iranian workers. We have been trying to do that. We have to double our efforts. I share Ben's reservations about the IFT. I think there has been so much debate, and so many of the workers who are now in the forefront of the workers' struggles in Iran today were arguing exactly like us in terms of the issue of IFT. The committee that is reorganizing all the workers' organizations really attacked those sections of the Iranian working class, or supporters of the working class, mainly in Canada and a couple in London, who had gone to trade unions with association with, however distant the history is, with CIA coups. However, I think once there is something like 26th of June or something else, we obviously have to go with our own leaflet, with our own statement, and strengthen whatever is going on without compromising our politics. The danger now is that everything that is done in the name of Iran would be debated, would be argued much more than ever before. And there will be talk of, the funds that Bush has used for regime change, how these funds are being used and so on. So we really have to be very careful to keep our distance even more with any attempt at manipulating, especially the working class struggles, which are much more important to us than any other forms of struggles. But also, I think we have to show practical solidarity, and that practical solidarity is the difficulties we faced throughout last week. We were trying to talk to people. They were saying, because they can't afford, unlike the middle classes, they can't afford to join the various websites or facilities for talking outside, like PAL talks that are like my money. They are not able to talk. So all we could get was written material. The working class, if and when it goes on major strikes, requires funds for doing so. And I think some of us have been arguing in Workers' Fund about Workers' Fund Iran for the last few years. I know there is a cricket match, but we have to do a lot more this summer to raise funds for Workers' Fund Iran, because these are practical ways in which when the working class does decide to take up a struggle, we can say we can provide you with strike funds. We can give you support to go on that strike. We have sent some money to the bus workers, and they were extremely grateful for it. We have managed to buy a computer for some of the Iran Khodro workers. They were extremely happy with that, because that's a means for them to communicate abroad. But these are drops in an ocean where we really do need to to help much more with funds. And last but not least, I want to emphasize a point that Moshe made. I think some of the Iranian intellectuals abroad are going mad over Mousavi, and we are going to see this wave. Dabashi should have been more intelligent than that. But I can see it inside Iran, film directors. Nowadays, even the Khamenei's favorite singer, who does a lot of classical nationalist Iranian songs, has become a Mousavi supporter and stopped the radio and television using his songs. Apart from the fact that one shouldn't support Mousavi, in Iranians and in the people in the Middle East, there is this tendency of looking for a hero. And we should, in arguing against Mousavi, we should also argue against looking for this hero, be it a lefty or a righty or a liberal. And on that note, I'll end. Thank you.